When it comes to FPS games, PC players have pretty much always dominated. And with crossplay coming to Apex, today I'm going over 5 advantages PC players will have over those on console and how you want to sort of negate them.
That was funny.
Quick disclaimer here, I'm going to be using the word PC to refer to those using mouse and keyboard because not all PC players use mouse and keyboard obviously, some play with controller. But when I say PC, I mean mouse and keyboard. When I say console, I mean those on controller. So let's get started, shall we?
Took out a hostile.
Now the first thing we're going to cover is looting, specifically Deathboxes. The advantage PC players have here is they can actually move around while looting the Deathbox as long as they're close enough to it. They can strafe, they can crouch, they can pretty much do whatever they want as long as they remain close enough to the Deathbox. Obviously, this makes them at least a slightly harder target to hit, while on console, if you're looting a Deathbox, this is what you look like.
Damn, I can't even loot the boxes I killed.
Now, there are pretty much two ways that I've found to negate this, and the first is quick looting. Quick looting is a skill by itself that you should develop, crossplay or not, and this means to have a sort of priority list in terms of items that you need and want. Grab those items first, something usually like a body shield if it's higher level, or if you need to shield swap. If you're low on ammo, you grab some ammo very quickly, that kind of thing. Grab the items you need first, and then afterwards you can sort of sort through them and start grabbing other things. But quick looting, as I mentioned, is a skill you need to develop, and this is going to help you out in the long run. Now, something you could try here is increasing your cursor speed in your settings. Obviously, the faster you can move your cursor, the faster you can select the item that you actually want. You want it to be slow enough that you can actually accurately select the item without going past it, and fast enough that you can still move your cursor fairly quickly and select the item you want. There's a balance right in between that's different for everyone. Just find it for you. Another thing you could try is one, you could crouch before you open the death box, so the box will at least block a part of your body, making you a slightly more difficult target to hit. Or you could change your crouch button to something else that doesn't interact with the box. That way, while looting, you can actually crouch spam, which obviously makes you a slightly harder target to hit. And the next thing we're going to cover here is item use. And that's because PC players really have an advantage here as well. The fact that they have more buttons on a keyboard than we have on a controller means they can assign individual buttons to syringes, medkits, phoenix kits, etc. To get the idea, they can press a single button and use the healing item they want. Now on console, you have one button that you use to select all your health items. How you overcome this is by, first of all, leaving the default item on one that you'll need quick access to in the middle of a fight. This is usually going to be a shield cell or a shield battery. That's because cells and batteries are used faster than syringes and medkits. And don't you dare leave it on that Phoenix kit. You're also going to want to know exactly where each item is on the wheel. It should be muscle memory. If you need a shield battery, you shouldn't need to look exactly where on the wheel it is. You should instantly know how to swap to a shield battery and quickly use it. This saves time, and that can also save your life. Now you probably saw this one coming, but the third thing we're going over here is precision. We're pretty much going to assume that mouse and keyboard players are going to be more accurate due to the nature of their aim, so you'll want to make sure you hit your shots as well. Now, you do have aim assist on controller to help you out in this regard, but aim assist doesn't do all the work for you. You still need to be able to properly aim and control your recoil when shooting a target. Now for precision, this really depends a lot on the player, whether you're on mouse and keyboard or controller, but I'm mainly going to be talking about the response curve here. This is your aim acceleration setting. On controller, you get to change not only your sensitivity, but your response curve, and I have mine set to linear. This is pretty much the raw input from the controller, and this makes my flick shot in particular a lot more consistent, as I always know exactly where my aim will end up. The downside to using linear is making small adjustments to your aim is a little bit harder, so sniping at long range, for example, will be a little bit more difficult, but you will adjust to it over time. This is not for everyone. Some people will still be better on classic, but I just find that it makes me more consistent with my shots, while classic is just better for slight adjustments. So just try them out and see exactly which one works better for you.
Oh, those wingman shots were perfect. I don't have any shield cells.
I will also add here that if you plan on changing your response curve, you may have to add a dead zone to your controller under the Apex settings, as for some reason, no matter what controller you're using, it gives you aim drift. So put your dead zone to small, and you may also have to decrease your sensitivity. This is really dependent on the person, of course, but I had to play on default when I usually play on high, and as I mentioned, I'm a lot better on linear, so just try them out, play around with their settings, and see exactly what works best for you. The fourth thing we're going over here is movement, because I constantly hear that mouse and keyboard players have better movement options than controller players, and this is simply not true. As Lifeline puts it,
Is our skill.
now I will admit that some movement techniques are a bit more difficult to learn on controller, but they're definitely still possible. You just have to learn how to do them. Once you learn how to do it and you do it enough, it becomes muscle memory, and once it's muscle memory, you don't even have to think about it while you're doing it. So just learn how to do the same movement techniques that you see the PC players doing, and you shouldn't really have a problem there. Some things that will help you out are, well, first of all, you can try getting pedals to your controller. If you have a scuff controller or a battle beaver, or you could do what I did, which is I bought a extreme rate kit and I remapped or I added pedals to my controller myself. And if you're on PlayStation, Sony makes a $30 attachment that grants you 2 additional remappable buttons. There are so many options you have out there. Add pedals to your controller, this will give you a much easier time. And if you don't have the cash to do that, you could try remapping your buttons. Set your buttons to something that allow you to jump and crouch without having to remove your hand from your thumbsticks. So that's pretty much all I'm going to say about movement. You have the same movement options, you just need to learn how to do them, and remapping your buttons might help. Now, the final thing we're going over here is settings, as PC players can pretty much control how the game looks, feels, and even performs, as long as they have capable hardware. On console, the only video setting you can really change is your field of view, so the settings that you do have access to, you want to make sure they're optimized. Once again, you can change your field of view on console, which you do not want to be set to the default 70. In fact, you want your field of view to be something above 90. 90 is about what you have in real life, and at 70 it's like if you were to take 2 books and put to each side of your head. Now you can't see anything to your left or your right. So increase your field of view to something above 90. I'll display mine on the screen right now, and find something that's comfortable for you. But as long as it's above 90, you should be fine. Now that's pretty much going to cover everything I wanted to talk about today, as there are still more advantages that PC players have above consoles that I didn't mention, like not being locked at 30 FPS for example, but I am still very excited for crossplay. And here are a few features I hope they add along with crossplay. First of all, I hope they add the ability to turn crossplay off if we want to. Second of all, I hope they add the ability to move while loading Deathboxes on controller. Third, add mouse and keyboard support for consoles, because this is only fair. And fourth, I hope they have some kind of friends list in the game where we can actually add players from other platforms. This is what PUBG did when it went crossplay between Xbox and PlayStation. So something like that would be nice, and I honestly hope this works out, because this is a big step for Apex.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to tell me in the comment section whether or not you're excited for crossplay, and tell me why. Subscribe for more future Apex content and for other games as well. And make sure you turn that like button blue because blue is my favorite color. This has been Jawnin. Peace out.